Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Father's Day drunk, Charette.
Yes. What's up, Doc G? How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man.
Father's Day drunk.
Yeah, Father's Day drunk as in, I just realized when I said that, I was like, it sounds like Mike was drunk on Father's Day, which for the record, listeners, he was not.
Nope.
I'm saying he's drunk off of the well wishes from Father's Day. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
This was your first Father's Day.
Was, yeah. Got a lot of love on Father's Day, so that was cool.
Nice. What did your daughter get you?
Nothing.
Oh.
So ungrateful.
Girl, come on. Freeloader, Mike. Good Lord. She's going to have to start pulling her weight soon.
She really is.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous. I'm guessing your wife, though, gave you the shout-outs.
For sure. It was pretty uneventful, but it was a nice day.
Did your parents contact you and like, hey, happy Father's Day?
My mom did. My dad, I actually wished my dad happy Father's Day, and he ghosted me.
No reciprocal. Did
he ever text me back? I don't think so.
That hurts. That stings, Dad.
Look at this. I was like, no, he never. Red on Sunday. He left me on the red receipt.
And
hilarious.
Still nothing back. Nothing back.
Nothing. Yeah, no, he never texted me back. I was like, wait, I'm not just saying this, am I? No, he never texted me back. So funny.
That is upsetting. That is upsetting right there, you know?
What are you going to do?
Well, nobody wished me happy Father's Day, Mike.
I'm sorry, Doc G.
Well, it makes sense. I'm not a father, you know? I almost forgot to wish my dad a happy.
You're a pod father.
Pod father.
No.
I am. I am the proud father of a podcast.
Yes.
I did. It's very sad, Mike, but I did I almost forgot to wish my dad. So like I went into my normal phone call on the weekend with my parents. With, hey, remember it's Father's Day. Completely forgot when I got on the phone, and then I get off the phone, and I was like, oh, man. So I had to call my dad back and be like, hey, I forgot. Happy Father's Day. It's a sad follow-up email that I forgot, But, you know what Father's Day made me think of, Mike?
What's up?
Pet fathers.
Word.
Pet father. Oh, yeah.
And
dog
pet
dads.
mothers.
Cat dads.
Yeah. But you know what? I've never really been the fan of the parent term,
Nah, me neither. I don't like it at all.
Because you're not.
You're not.
You're not a parent at all. Like, if you ask the dog if their owner was their parent, they'd be like, no. What? Of course not. They're like my crotchety landlord. Like, because you're not you're not even a friend. You're holding them. I don't want to make it sound horrible, but let's be honest. You're holding them. That's why there's a leash, But I thought about these pet owners because there's a lot of them, And I got to be honest, Mike, a lot of them suck at being pet owners.
So true.
Yeah.
They
do. They really do.
They're just bad at it. And I clearly recognize I don't have the responsibility or time to handle another living organism in my house.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say I don't have the time or responsibility. I don't want to dedicate the time or responsibility to another living organism in my house. I'm sure I could force myself to do that, Mike, but I don't want to do that,
No. Yeah.
But some people, they don't think of the long term, Mike. They see a fuzzy animal, and they're like, well, you know what? I've had fun petting this thing for 10 minutes. I might as well own this.
They look great in videos.
Yeah,
social media.
And
they're so perfect.
Now, I'll say, Mike, luckily, I haven't seen you do this with your daughter. So, you know what? You've thought of the long term. Good for you. Good for you.
Hold on. You haven't seen me do what?
Not think of the long term with your daughter. You're in it for the long term.
I'm in it for the long term, but it really is hard to think about how long
it is. It's a very long time. It is longer than a pet. I will say that, Mike.
For sure, yeah.
But, I mean, this is the thing with pets, Mike. Like, you've got obviously different needs than your daughter with a pet. Mm-hmm. One of the things that pets have, especially dogs, not owners, or not owners, not cats. With dogs, you have to take them to use the bathroom, man. Mm-hmm. And I saw someone in the neighborhood walking their dog the other day, and the dog was on the leash, and it was very upsetting because they were basically like yanking the dog along.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those where it's just like, yeah, come on, we're this way, yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, and the dog starts making a move to take a dump, and the owner pauses for like 2 seconds and then just starts yanking the dog again before the dog was even finished doing its business, man. And I was so offended. I wanted to go out there and be like, hey, does this happen at your job? Are you taking a dump in the bathroom and your boss comes in and is like, hey, you've been on the toilet long enough. Get out of there. Get out. It's been 10 seconds. No. You've got all the privacy you want, right? Like, it's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it is.
You're embarrassing their dog at the most vulnerable moment. You're walking around. The dog's like, all right, man, this spot looks good here. Keep a lookout. Keep a lookout for me. That's why they lock eyes with you when they're doing their business. Is there anybody coming? Are you?
Yeah.
Let me know. Let me know if there's somebody behind me, and this person just yanks them out, drag them out. It's horrible, Mike.
Yeah, it's tough to see.
It made me think, how many pet owners are not good pet owners? What would you say? What's the percentage for you out of all the pet owners? And let's just say furry animals. Because I feel like there's a higher percentage of like reptile owners that are pretty good pet owners,
Yeah, I would say just based on, we go for a lot of walks around here, and I see more negligence than I see where I'm like, that's a good pet owner. Like there was recently, I saw, it's, I don't know if it's a sign of a good pet owner, but when the dog doesn't bark when you walk by it, and it's one of those small ones too that are really territorial.
It's just broken. You can tell. It's like, what is life? What is a bark? Who cares?
Or it's just like, wow, that's a really well-trained dog. Like it sits, if it stops,
Yeah.
does the whole thing. But I don't know. So to answer your question, I would say the ratio's got to be high 60% of people who are not good pet owners.
We're on the same page, Mike.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I have it right here. 75%. That's what I think.
75?
I think overwhelming majority, unfit.
Yeah.
No, it's a varying degree. It's shades of gray.
Right, for sure. They do some training. They do some in research.
Yeah.
On how
there's some that are better than others, but I would say without a doubt, like 50%. Just no. We should take your animals. No, you should not have pets. And I just want to say out to those people that are those individuals, you're not pet parents. You are delinquent pet landlords. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Delinquent pet landlords. That's harder than I thought it was to say. Anywho.
That's a fact.
Like I said before, though, I think I know what the problem is. They didn't anticipate how much time and responsibility it was,
Yeah. Yeah, really sad.
Here's the thing, Mike. I've got good news for them. I've got something for these horrible pet owners that doesn't require as much time and responsibility. You know what that is, Mike?
The show.
Yes. It requires a small amount of time and almost zero responsibility. Your only responsibility, don't be a and give us 5-star rating. That's your only responsibility.
By the way, we're trained.
Exactly. And by the end of the show, you will feel like you just finished petting a furry animal. That's what you'll feel like. So, Mike, are you ready to fire up this furry animal?
Let's fire up the show, Doc G.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Woo! My goodness, Mike, I'm excited about this one. We have some young bucks.
Say what?
Some young the Stews. The Stews. My goodness, Mike. These guys, young band, just started out. Here's how young they are. 5 years. They've only been a band less than 5 years. They've been a band for less than 5 years. And these guys,
babies.
it's another one, Mike. I'm envious. I'm envious of these bros because I mean they're in their lower 20s. Yeah, they're out there just grabbing life by the horns, just doing it. It's exciting. They're making it as it comes to them. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna play rock and roll, and we're gonna tour this here world. It's impressive. It is impressive. They were supposed to play Bonnaroo this past weekend, Mike, but I don't know if you saw that.
Canceled.
Real bummer. Yeah, it got canceled. Yeah.
Because of the weather. What was the weather? Was it rain?
Just constant thunderstorms, lots of raining, and then it got sort of mudded out there. There was a picture I saw from the first day, because they canceled the last 3 days. I saw a picture of the first day of like a girl that apparently, like, there was some mud wrestling that broke out just for funsies, and this girl was just like, literally from head to toe, just all mud. And I was just like, that's pretty gross.
That's a fact.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you know me, Mike. It doesn't take much for me to start hating social gatherings.
So true.
And I feel like if I would have seen that, I would have been like, and I'm out. See you guys later. We are not doing this anymore. But sadly for the Stews, Mike, they didn't get to perform.
Yeah.
But they do have a show coming up this weekend in Birmingham. Summer Solstice Spectacular, Mike.
Cool.
Summer Solstice Spectacular. We're going to be talking with Wyatt. We're going to be talking with Preston. Can't wait. But we need to start where we start, Mike.
Birthday suits.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
I want to say, like, there's a shade of me that's concerned. I know you know this person 100%. But there's just a shade of me that, little teeny, that's afraid you're not going to pull this name. But I'm like, so I'm going to say 98%.
Okay.
98%. Here we go. The Beatle who's still alive and not named Ringo.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney is correct. Yes. Woo! All right. Now, Mike, just so you know, too, shout out to my mom because it's also my mom's birthday. Okay. So, yeah. So, always, she was always very excited to have the same birthday as Paul McCartney because, of course, she was a big Beatles fan, big Paul fan, too. I mean, who isn't? Look at that guy. Lovable face, Paul, Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But born on June 18, 1942, Mike. Liverpool, England. Of course, part of the Beatles. And, it's crazy. They're the most famous group in the history of music when you think about that. Like, literally, all of music, all of mankind, they are the most famous. Mm-hmm. Like, you literally are the most famous group ever. Like, that's pretty wild. That's sort of like Usain Bolt being the fastest human ever on the planet. Like, they have sold over 600 million albums, Mike.
Say what?
600 million. We're not talking streams, people. This is 500 million physical copies. Mm-hmm. That is crazy. 20 number one singles, Mike, the Beatles. They are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, of course. They are Rolling Stone magazine's greatest musical artist in history. And then, of course, after the Beatles, he went on to his solo career, which was extremely successful. In his history, Mike, Paul has 32 number one songs on the Billboard charts.
Jeez.
That he has written or co-written. 32. He has 19 Grammy Awards, and of course, also a knight. He is Sir Paul McCartney, of course. He was knighted by the British Crown, which I looked into it, Mike. We could potentially be honorary knights, even if you're not a UK citizen. But you don't get to be called Sir if you're not a true UK citizen, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'd be fun to be a knight, Mike, but if you don't get the Sir, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know? That's a downer.
Sir.
Yeah. I've also brought this up with a couple of guests on the show, Mike, but I just find it how crazy it is with Paul McCartney, like, how much he's done with music, how famous he is. Like, literally, one of the most famous people in history.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, he's a billionaire. And not only that, he's literally one of the most, the greatest musicians in history. But he seems like a dude that you could just, like, go to Target with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he honestly just seems so down to earth. You could just, like, be like, hey, Paul, I got to go get some new underpants. You want to go with me to Target? And he'd be like, sure, we'll go. Yeah, Target. Yeah. Like, just like, I mean, he just seems so laid back, so fun.
You got to wonder also, and if maybe Paul McCartney isn't this guy, but like, we wrote, you said 31 or 32? 32 number one. Like, do you think, like, when did that wear off? Like, when after the 5th, 6th number one, he's just like, number one, does that ever lose its new car smell?
I feel like you got to be a little bit impervious to it to start with, Like, that's one of those things that, like, that helped him not go into this sort of, crazy mode, was it never really influenced him that much to begin with. He's like, well, what does it matter?
That's a good point.
It's not like, doesn't change who I am, doesn't change the music that I want to make. Like, who, of course, me, if that happened to me, I would fall apart in a second. I'd be like, oh, the high! Yeah! and then I wouldn't get one the next week, and I'd be on the floor like, what does it matter anymore? What is life? So, yeah, he's just a fantastic guy. Sir Paul, happy birthday, Sir Paul. Enjoy the birthday. What's he turning? 83. 83 for Sir Paul. Happy birthday, Paul. Yes. Mike, you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
Okay, Mike, I've got a headline from ESPN. Now, this is a unique headline. This is a headline from ESPN off of their Instagram. So it was a quote from Haley Steinfeld about her wedding day with Josh Allen. And here's the quote, Mike. I don't think I could have gone the whole day without seeing him.
Word.
That was referring to their wedding day, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And they apparently broke protocol by having breakfast before the wedding together, against the protocol of seeing the wife and whatnot.
Right.
And I got to say, Mike, that's disgusting. Come on, Haley. You've known the guy for 2 years. Like, pace yourself. It's been longer since I've had a haircut than you've known Josh Allen. That's been a longer process. The last time that I got this cut was before you knew this dude. Like, pace yourself. I want to hear that same energy coming from you in 25 years.
So true.
When Josh is retired, he's out of the limelight, he's gained 30 pounds, and he's doing commercials for Nugenics, I want to see you be like, I can't spend a day without him. I got to see him every single day because I don't know if it's going to be there,
give it
Mike.
3 more years, actually. 3 or 4
exactly.
more. And then you're going to be like, free day.
Exactly. Pace yourself, Haley. I know what some people out there are saying, Mike. They're saying, hey, Ben, stop being a hater, Word. And I got to be honest. No, I'm not being a hater, guys. I'm a level corrector. Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm a level corrector, and I don't like to see people get too high, and I don't like to see people get too low. I like to keep people in the middle, Keep us on a nice trajectory.
Yeah.
And she's a little too high right now. I got to drop her down a peg, I see somebody that's getting too low, I'm going to try to pump them up. Yeah. I'm going to bring them up. But, Haley, pace yourself. You're a little too inflated right now. It's ridiculous. A little too much.
We were talking about last night how like Disney movies are like this gives this false expectation of what marriage is really like.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, no, it's about right. It's just they don't show you what happens, in a few years. when the beast turns back into the beast during an argument.
Run! throws beauty across the room. Yeah, that's rough.
Anyways.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, Haley, pace yourself.
Pace yourself.
Because, again, I'll go back to the actual unmarried couple. Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn. Those two look like they're having a great time.
Yeah. Great.
They pace themselves right there. They're like 40 years in, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Anyway, let's kudos to them. Kudos to them. Pump them up. Anyways, Mike, moving on to a headline here from USA Today. Here's the headline. Jolly Rancher candies pulled from shelves in UK over cancer concerns. Don't worry, Mike. They're still available in the U.S. We've never let a little cancer hold us back.
Let me guess, it's the green one, right?
It's all of them.
Oh, get out of here.
Well, actually, so it's the UK Food Standards Agency. They announced they were pulling Jolly Rancher hard candies, Jolly Rancher Misfit gummies, Jolly Rancher hard candy fruity 2-in-1s, and Jolly Rancher berry gummies. All 4 of those are being pulled, Mike. Jeez. And they say that these contain mineral oil aromatic hydrocarbons and mineral oil saturated hydrocarbons, which make them unsafe to consume.
All right, Doc G, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah, I would say it'd probably be a good idea to avoid them. It's one of those things. It's pretty well established, Mike. The more processed something is, the more preservatives there are in something, usually the less healthy it is for our body. Mm-hmm. We're a lot easier to process things like, I don't know, an apple versus a weird plastic-like piece of candy that shines like a car hood. It's not good, But you're never going to believe this, Mike. But when USA Today contacted Hershey, who makes Jolly Ranchers, they said, quote, the safety and quality of Jolly Rancher products are the company's first priority. Consumers can rest assured that our product is safe to enjoy. Word. No, it seems a little biased, Mike. Seems
just a little.
Slightly biased. Sounds a little bit like a cigarette company in like the 1950s. What? These are great. No, they're not bad for you. Come on. Mike, I've definitely had Jolly Ranchers. I can't say I've ever really been obsessed with them, though. Are you a big JR fan?
I mean, if I see one in a little, a little dentist bin or, one of those little jars or bowls of candy, I'll take a watermelon or a cherry for sure.
I'm going to go ahead and say if they have those at any dentist, though, that's a horrible dentist there.
It's really unusual, but sometimes dentist offices have candy.
Those are the ones that are trying to get the comeback customer. Here,
yeah, right.
Here, take all of these things. They're going to rot your teeth. There you go. Try that out. There it is. A Jolly Rancher.
I always think it's
man.
the dentist that just don't take it so seriously. You can have some candy every once in a while.
I would look that person in their eye and be like, "You're suspect. You're suspect, man. I'm not taking this candy. You give me my Listerine and my floss, or I am calling the cops right now." Anyways, Mike, I've got a headline from Fortune magazine. Here's the headline: Melinda French Gates. Top career advice. Embrace uncertainty. So, Mike, if you want to write this down, number 1, embrace uncertainty. Right below embrace uncertainty, marry a billionaire. Really worked out for her. I'm not saying it has to work out for everybody, but that was a great one for her. Like, honestly. Like, no offense. I'm sure she could have done plenty of things in her life. But you look at her career, and it was get out of college, go to Microsoft, marry Bill Gates 7 years later after they had dated for like 6 years. Come on. And he was already the richest man in the world when they got married. Come on.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, I'll get behind the embrace uncertainty, but you know.
Why'd they put her middle name in the headline?
Well, because she's divorced now.
Melinda French Gates.
Yeah. You know, she started doing
so-
the French after she divorced old Bill in
gotcha.
2022.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Sorry, Doc G. Were you going
there's
to say it?
Anywho, Mike, I've got another headline here. This headline is from Wired. And here's the headline: How Steve Jobs wrote the greatest commencement speech ever. You know what I say to that, Mike? He didn't. I don't need to read the article. He didn't write the greatest commencement speech ever. He wrote a good commencement speech with the help of a bunch of other people. But just because this dude came up with the iPhone doesn't make everything he did the best in the world.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you people? He used the toilets at Apple offices to soak his feet. That's weird. It's not a good idea. That's not a great idea. That's a bad idea. Like, just because he did one good thing, don't make everything that he did amazing. Mike, in this article, they say the number one choice for Stanford for this commencement wasn't even Steve Jobs. It was Jon Stewart. And I gotta say, I can tell you right now, I would have rather had Jon Stewart there. If I was in that graduating class, I would have been like, we gotta listen to this guy, and we could have had Jon Stewart. That would have been so much cooler.
A lot more laughs, for sure.
Exactly.
Zero laughs with the Steve Jobs speech.
Oh, well, they literally brought that up in the article, and he was worried about that. And I was like, yeah, you did suck. Zero laughs. Zero laughs. Like I will say though, we have a problem with that in America. That, like, anytime anybody does something that we like, we start making them into the greatest person ever, and they can never do anything wrong. And vice versa. Somebody does something that we don't like, and they are the scum of the earth, and everything they've ever done is wrong. Again, guys, not to go back, bring it to the middle. Just like Haley. Bring it to the middle, guys. Yeah, he made some cool things at Apple. Not everything that he does was the greatest. He was a pretty weird dude. You ever hear about his diet, Mike? Extremely weird.
I read, his biography, he ate so many carrots that he actually turned like a hue of orange. Yeah.
And he thought like everything, and again, he's one of those guys that he's so hard-headed, so stubborn, which works for a lot of things in business, but like, they
doesn't
told
work for
him
cancer treatment.
Well, that's the thing, is they told him he had cancer, and he's like, yeah, I'll solve it. I got it. And he could have lived. If he would have just said, yeah, okay. Like, it's just, people are ridiculous when they take these things just, and I saw that article, Mike, and it automatically, it made me riled up. It made me like a cat when you pet them in the wrong direction to bring it back to pets. You know when you do that?
Yeah.
Cats really hate that. If you pet them against the grain of their fur, ooh, not a fan. Not a fan. They're like, what are you doing? Get off me, you turd. Guys. Mike, I've got a headline here from Complex. This one, wow. This one is a whole notch up there, Mike. Tyler Herro claims he doesn't believe in history. There's no way of knowing.
Word.
Yes. Yes, Mike. Tyler Herro, the basketball player.
Yep, Miami Heat.
Yeah. He really looked at Kyrie and said, hold my beer. I'm gonna say something really stupid. Like,
Hold my gas station heroin.
hold my gas station heroin. I'm going in. Like, But you know what they say, Mike? Those who don't know history are not doomed to repeat it because history's totally fake, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good call, Tyler. Good call. I really hope no one's thinking of inviting him to a commencement speech anytime soon.
Oh, gosh.
Mike, this happened on a live stream with Aiden Ross, which already, if you're not aware of Aiden Ross, you could already say this live stream was going to be a nexus of intelligence. He told Aiden he doesn't believe in anything that happened before 1950.
Word.
And this came up because of a conversation about Wilt Chamberlain performing in today's NBA. They basically were like, we think that Wilt could score 100 points in today's NBA? That stupid question.
Right.
And he said, he first was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. And he was like, well, actually, I don't know. I don't even know what's he look like. Who is he? You don't even know if that happened. And then he said, dead a bunch. He really liked saying dead after a bunch of things that he said.
His tick.
Yeah, but, first of all, and I think
I can't
several
wait to
people...
watch this interview.
First of all, which I think already plenty of people have pointed this out, Mike, Wilt Chamberlain's career, all of it happened after 1950. He said he doesn't believe in anything before 1950. Wilt never played in the NBA before 1950. He was born in 1936, so he was 14 years old in 1950. That's how history works.
So true.
Like, oh, God, Mike. And, of course, in this interview, it was like all of them were staring at each other like, yeah, really? Oh, it's crazy. Oh, you don't believe in history? Oh, it's crazy.
Dead.
And yeah, exactly. And nobody in the room, which it was only 3 people, but nobody in the room was like, hey, actually, that's really stupid. You should believe in history. There are things like pictures, things like written artifacts, eyewitness accounts, verifying all of these things. Like, what do you just tell people? You don't believe that your grandmother existed before 1950? They're like, nah, she was a figment of imagination was what that was. That didn't happen. Like, ridiculous, Mike.
That's a fact.
Ridiculous. He gives other basketball players a bad name. Like, it's ridiculous. Jesus Christ. If he was on my team, Mike, and he showed up to the locker room after that, what is wrong with you? Dude, you don't believe in history. What is wrong with you? Like, anyways, Mike. Anyways, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Listeners, Michael has some important information for you about how you should follow this show that you're already following. So this is a bit redundant, but at the same time, all these other shows tell you about this information. So I feel like we have to tell you about this information. So Mike's going to tell you about this information. Mike?
Yeah, and we just want to remind you to please subscribe to the show.
Uh-huh.
Please subscribe. We're everywhere: Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Pandora, Sirius. Are we on Sirius? We're not on Sirius.
Yeah, we're on Sirius.
We are on Sirius. Yeah, so please subscribe to this show. And, if you're feeling extra generous, listeners, please leave us a 5-star review. That really helps us a lot, especially on Spotify.
Yes. I'm serious. We're on Sirius.
We are on Sirius. I don't know why.
Dad joke.
I felt...
Mike, I will say, ever since our conversations have turned a little bit, whenever we start talking about the content and the people's involvement and whatnot, I now am very cognizant of things that I like. I will try to actually like and subscribe, I will catch myself. I'm like, hey, have you listened to this podcast? You have listened to this podcast multiple times. Give them the subscribe, Ben. Oh, come on. Give them the subscribe and give them the 5 stars. Don't be I try to do that on myself,
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, I watched Sydney's special, Sydney Castillo there, that's going to be on the show soon, and I watched his full special, and I was like, Ben, give him the like. What are you doing? You watch the whole special. Don't just go through the whole comedy special and then not like it. So I made sure, gave it the old like, Mike. Because it helps. It does help a lot.
It definitely helps.
And I really realize that, like you said, though, like we get in such a bad habit of just being a consumer and then not doing anything about it, You consume and then you're like, well, that's cool, and then you move on. Well, that's no good. That's no good. That basically is the same thing as you saying, hey, this sucks. And I'm not responding at all. That's basically what you're doing. Because that's saying, I watched this and then I left. Bro, come on. Don't do that, listeners. Don't you do that.
Please don't.
If you do that, you are no friend of ours. We are not going to pet you at all.
Nope.
Anywho, Mike, we need to thank the real ones. We need to thank the 5-star listeners. Here we go. Let me just bring this up here so I can screw this up in fashion. Here we go. Shoutouts. Shout out to Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Columbia, South Carolina, Phoenix, Arizona, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Fort Worth, Texas, Boardman, Oregon, Phoenix, Arizona, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, and Radford, Virginia. There we go.
Nice.
Had a little. I knew I threw Falkenstein into a weird place, and Falkenstein is always. It's a tough one for me to get over. But you know what, Falkenstein, you're true blue, buddy. You're always out there listening, and we thank you, Falkenstein.
Thank you.
And of course, everybody else that was on that list. You're regulars. That's why you're on that list. We thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, here we go. Here's some 4-star listens for you. Queens, New York, getting the listens. I'm guessing that was some fans of the old Moon City Masters there, since that's their neck of the woods. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for listening. Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Mike. You know Mount Pleasant? I think we brought it up. I think we brought it up before. Mount Pleasant's right beside Charleston. You go over a big old bridge, and you're in Mount Pleasant after you go over the big old bridge. Very lovely place, Mike. Probably could not afford to live there. Actually, there's no probably about it. I could not live there. Cloney, Cloney, Ireland. Mike, I took time. We talked about Cloney before. I took time. I looked it up on a couple of YouTube clips to make sure I was saying it right. It was Cloney.
Okay.
At least by those YouTube clips. If I'm wrong, Cloney listeners, let me know and blame those people because they're turds out there pronouncing your city wrong. Cloney's right outside of Dublin, which we already have Dublin listeners. So shout out to the Cloney listeners. Shout out to the Dublin listeners.
Shout out.
It's green and cold over there, guys, even in the winter. Or summer, even in the summer. Of course it's cold in the winter. Yeah. Anywho. Altoona, Pennsylvania, Mike. They're doing it.
Altoona.
They're getting locked in. I like it.
I think about that pizza once a week at least.
Well, when we bring it up, yes. You think of that weird sausage.
But I even thought about it the other day. I was like, man, if I'm going to Pennsylvania soon, should I just make a detour and go to Altoona?
Yes, you should, Mike. You should,
so.
and you should make a video, just a quick video of you trying out some Altoona pizza.
Yes.
Give me some hot shots of it, you know? Give me some hot shots. Like I said, I have no doubt that it would be good. It is weird. It just looks weird too. It doesn't. I mean, it looks like pizza, but it looks like pizza that you would see in like an elementary school book or something like that. It's wild. Anywho, Lulila, Sweden, Mike. Fremont, California, and then we've got oh man, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this one. I'm just going to say we've got Mississippi. Okay, I am going to try to pronounce it. Kosciuszko. Man, where did that name come from? Kosciuszko. Kosciuszko, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where did that name? I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to get some history on Kosciuszko, Mississippi, Mike. Anywho, Osaka, Japan. Shout out to Osaka. Little Rock, Arkansas. Miami, Florida. Houston, Texas. Richmond, Virginia. And lastly, St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you guys for listening. Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back with none other than the Stews. We have half of the Stews. We got Preston. We have got Wyatt. We will be right back here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to have half of a fantastic band on the show who are getting ready to do a little art festival you guys may have heard of called Bonnaroo. We have none other than the Stews. We have Wyatt and Preston. Fellas, how's it going?
Going well. Real well.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, I have, on the show, we've had a good number of legacy bands. We've had our Def Leopards on the show. We've had our Collective Souls on the show. And some of these bands, I'll ask them about something that happened at the start of their career. And, it's been 40 years ago. And so I ask them guys, what do you, and you can tell they're just what? I don't remember. What? Jesus. But for you guys, it's been 5 years. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do you guys look around? Wyatt, do you look around at each other and go wow, we've done a lot in 5 years. It's pretty crazy.
It's weird. It's been, we can all undoubtedly say it's been the quickest 5 years of our lives, definitely. And so it doesn't feel like it, but at the same time, it's the people we were having just dropped out of college 5 years ago are very different from who we are today. So it's a weird, complex kind of thing.
It's one of my one of the former guests. I can't think of who it was, but he said it feels like speeding at a very slow pace. because he said there's so many things happening, but at the same time, like it feels like it's flying by.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But now, Wyatt, you, Blake, and Bennett, you guys all grew up in Atlanta. You went to the same high school, right?
yes, we did.
Nice. Side note, I saw this. I'm not sure if you're aware. Your high school's golf team, they took home the state title.
Wow,
Dude, let's go.
Let's go. Golden
The
Bears.
Golden Bears.
Let's go.
Right. A little bit of celebration right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we always had a good golf program, so
There you go.
Great
There
dude.
you go. Well, now, growing up, I thought about, you guys obviously have a great rock sound. Growing up in Atlanta, especially when you were, it's sort of the hip hop capital. I mean, you got older acts like the Dungeon Family, Outkast, Goody Mob, Ludacris, T.I., Jeezy. You got newer people, Migos, Waka Flocka, B.O.B. Like the list goes on and on and on.
yeah.
What made you go towards rock? I'm guessing it was your dad.
That's a good guess. So yeah, he was definitely a big part of it. I think for all of us, our parents really were the first ones to show us like 60s, 70s, 80s rock. And yeah, my dad was also in a band when I was growing up, and he was in a rock band. They never really picked up a bunch of traction, but I just looked up to him and what he was doing, and I think I just was like kind of drawn to being a drummer. The drums in rock songs were always a little more interesting than like hearing like a trap beat. But I mean, also love all the Atlanta rappers and all the history there. But yeah. I think it was definitely a lot of influence of the older people around me.
Was your dad's was it straightforward rock that he was in?
He was in a basically like a contemporary Christian rock band.
Gotcha.
We got like a little bit of radio play, and this was all before streaming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like I had no gauge of like how successful he was, but I mean it lasted 3 years, and he got back to his I guess day job, but yeah.
Went back to the sad stuff. Oh. Well, I will say on the hip hop side, you've got the hunchback and wetsuit. We don't need to get into that right now, but
you've done some.
We do have a little bit of hip hop background, but
Plenty of it.
But
no
Preston,
one's ever mentioned it. That's awesome.
There you go. Well, Preston, you grew up in Alabama,
Right.
Dothan, Alabama. Not as much of a hip hop capital as Atlanta.
No.
What got you into music initially?
I took a trip. I went to summer camp in Alaska. It was like this adventure camp, and my leader, I was kind of like didn't have a lot of friends back home. Was like questioning a lot, going through a lot, and my camp counselor was kind of going through a lot in his life, and he was like my rock and roll mentor first. He gave me this book about Dwayne Allman, and he was a big Deadhead, big Fish guy, and put me on all that. And I got back home, and I was grounded for like a month as soon as I got back home, and just got like totally obsessed with the Grateful Dead and the Allman Brothers and like that whole like jam scene.
Yeah.
And my dad was into music. Like he showed me Rush and then stuff like that he was into as a kid. A lot of like The Cult and The Cure and stuff like that, and like a lot of cool 80s rock, stuff like that. And I don't know, rock and roll, it always just had such an appeal to me. I started getting into researching a lot of bands. I remember I'd go like month by month and I'd get obsessed with the band. I would like, I've heard of Led Zeppelin, but I don't know what they sound like. And I would like listen to all Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd and The Who and Rush and Allman Brothers and like all the classics, and then like started playing guitar, and that was something that I didn't have to, it was just such a release for me. Like, you can go do that alone in your room. And just like, I just started connecting on like an emotional level with a lot of this music. I feel like for whatever reason, it just like, it was all I could think about after I found out about it.
I hate to go back to it, but do you remember what you got grounded for?
It was Smoking the Devil's Lettuce. Yeah.
I was about to say, I was like, you were grounded for a month? That seems pretty...
So it's funny, I got busted before I went to camp, and my dad didn't want me to go, and my mom was like, I can't get a refund, like, you're gonna go and you're gonna learn a lesson. And I did.
Yeah, I mean, in a indirect way, you got to thank mom because they got you into music there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't take your guitar as part of the punishment. I'm glad.
Well, they did actually, and I had to borrow my neighbor's guitar.
No way, dude.
Yeah. And then my mom gave up. She was like, if you love it that much, like, you know, it's a passion.
It's dedication. That's dedication. But now, what got you in? Because I mean, obviously, when people listen to the Stews, there's a good amount of soul in your singing. You like that sort of side of it. What got you into soul?
So I was also that we had like a housekeeper nanny situation too growing up. My mom worked full time and my parents were split, so I was always there was a woman, Michelle, and she was an older black woman that was always around, and she would always have on like gospel music or soul music, or like she loved like the old Etta James stuff, and would have like a Marvin Gaye playing every now and then, and so that, like, I think just indirectly, not even noticing it sometimes, I was just around a lot of that music like growing up. And then my dad, like, one of his favorite movies that we'd always watch, like the Blues Brothers, and I just got so into, because I got into rock and roll, and then you get into all these guitar players, and you start, you know, looking up interviews of Dwayne and Jimmy Page and all these people, and they're all, and Clapton, I was a huge Clapton fan, and they're all talking about like the blues is like the staple of back then, like they were all just trying to play blues music, and then it kind of came out as rock and roll, you know. So I like got really into, I remember hearing about 12-bar blues, and I was like, it's such a simple concept, but to me, I was like, it's got to be more complex than this, because it's like it's like simple, but it's so complex at the same time. So I was just always drawn to the soul stuff, and then I got into the Allman Brothers, and I would always just sing like, you know, Greg Allman tunes and stuff, and be trying to like work that part of my voice, and I guess I just kind of how I shaped it.
A couple things. One, I will say it's always amazing to me because, you know, you it's like you said, you do hear that constantly. The Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Zeppelins, all of them are like, oh, we're just playing these tunes. I mean, I remember a Mick Jagger interview where he was like, oh, we were just always trying to sound like Muddy Waters.
Yeah, literally, and it came out as rock.
But the funny thing to me is, I'm just like, that's you guys trying to sound like Muddy Waters? Like,
you missed that one a little bit.
Yeah, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. It sounds great, but that's not like that.
You guys are a terrible cover band, right?
Completely different, man. Yeah. What's your favorite soul singer, Preston?
Soul singer, I'd probably say Aretha. I don't know if that's like a generic answer, but she's like the queen, dude. Her and Marvin Gaye are like, that's like, because men and women's soul voices are two different animals, so I would have to give those two.
Nice. I always listeners know they're already saying, yes, we know what you're gonna say, but I always have to say Sam Cooke. It's my favorite.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
it's so smooth. So smooth.
It hits you in your soul.
I saw a post. It was a little while back, a couple of years back. You said Derek Trucks. I mean, you keep bringing up the Allman Brothers, so obviously, but like, you went and saw Derek Trucks, and you posted about how he was one of the folks who really got you playing guitar. Yeah,
definitely. Because like I said, I was really into Clapton. Like, was upset. My dad showed me Layla. I remember like skipping class, got in trouble for skipping class, listening to Layla, and like I don't know if you can see it, but like literally, it's my favorite record. And then found out about the Allman Brothers and Dwayne specifically, his whole story, like Muscle Shoals and the lore behind all of that. And then I found out that they played on Layla together. Like, that's Dwayne playing the slide, and they're in the studio together, and that whole story how it happened. And then I found Derek Trucks, and was like, wow, this guy's amazing. And then I found out he's covering all of the old Layla stuff, like, in his new projects, and he was in the Allman Brothers, and it was like I found each three of those players at different times, and then realized that they all had something to do with each other, and that just like blew my mind. And Derek Trucks is just such a, like, he took what Dwayne did and like took it to a whole nother level and like mastered it. So it's just so inspiring to listen to him play the guitar like a female like soul singer. It's like it's crazy, you know.
Like pure emotion.
Yeah.
When now I saw in that post you said he gave you some advice.
Yeah.
What was the advice?
He said a couple of things, a lot of things, but the one piece of advice that was most important, I think he was like, listen, like listen all you can, and then stop listening and start playing. And like that's how, especially in like blues music, that's how you become yourself and become a musician. You know, it's like you got to stop listening and use everything you've learned and you listen to and like let it come out of you. You know. Nice.
Well, now Wyatt, you guys on the other side there in Atlanta, you got together, you, Bennett and Blake, for a high school band there, No Can Do.
Yes.
For first concert at the graduation. Now, was that sort of a one-off when you guys put that together? Were you like, okay, well, we're going to do this, and then we're probably all going to go to college and move on?
You know, the first version of that band in high school was the only like two members that stayed throughout it were me and Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
We had some other friends that like said they played guitar and they just owned a guitar and had never really played it. So like our first couple of practices, we were like freshmen in high school and they were painful. You know, it was like we were just sitting there kind of looking at things and like just like talking.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, when Blake transferred to Holy Innocents, I met him through soccer and he was really about it. So me and Bennett just started playing with him more, and my dad was in the mix with all that. But it was like, I mean, we'd practice so much and we never really knew, like, there wasn't ever always a purpose. We did some school functions and those were always, it was nice that they allowed us to do that, but they'd also kind of like, it was always poorly planned when it was through them. Like, it would be like, yeah, y'all can set up and play at lunch, but then, you know, we'd be expected to make last period after lunch, but we'd have all of our equipment out in the courtyard and like we can't just leave it in the sun to bake, you know, like we gotta go pack that up, and then we'd be late to the last period and we'd get in trouble. I got an in-school suspension for that one time and I was like, this just feels like it's not meant to be. Like,
trap me. What is this?
Yeah, this
exactly.
is entrapment.
Exactly. So, you know, we're playing prom too was always really fun. I think even at that time, like me and Bennett and Blake all we're like, this is so much fun. This is what we want to do more than anything. But we were like, let's be realistic though. Like, we're probably not going to do this like and get paid for it ever.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's just kind of like what we just kind of talked about that every once in a while, and you know, we're content with just having fun though, you know.
Well, so you end up going to Auburn, and like when you went to Auburn, was that sort of the idea? Was like, oh, now it's time to go to college for a real job, or were in your head you were like, no, I'm gonna find a band?
You know what? It was like literally a perfect mix of both, I think. Like it was like I knew what like I was supposed to do, but I just knew, I had a feeling, I think, that I would have been depressed if I hadn't found somebody to play, just at least one person to play music with. So I went, and one of the first things I did was start renting a storage unit in Auburn to practice drums in, because I was like, I can't, you know, I'm not going to set up in my dorm. Like that's
I was about to say,
there's
that's,
no way
that's very nice of you.
Fly. Yeah. So I got that literally just to keep my drums in and to practice in, and it was like the most echoey storage unit ever.
Can't imagine.
The ceilings weren't even closed, so it was like the loud, like, I mean, I sounded like, you know, when the levee breaks in there, but like it was pretty terrible.
If you sound like that, that's pretty awesome.
I thought it was awesome, but I think the other people that
sounded like Bono
did not think it was awesome.
Oh, I can guarantee you, if somebody came to move their stuff, they were like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, this dude again!"
Yeah, they were like some idiot. Yeah. So
how much were you paying for that storage unit?
It was probably like a little south of like $200 a month.
Worth it.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't keep it for long, but it was worth it just to kind of like, I was like, well, I have this, I'm paying for it, so I better, you know, keep playing drums.
Did you think about just getting like one of like the Roland electronic sets or something like that?
You know, that's what I started playing drums on, because I have two sisters, and growing up, you know, they were always right when I wanted to play drums, no matter when it was, is when they were starting their homework. So it just never, yeah. So I had having the volume knob on it was nice. I'd plug my headphones and everything. And once you like make the switch though, away from that to acoustic, it's hard to go back. And like I feel like it's I would do it if really needed to, but like playing acoustic drums when you start on electric, it becomes like an addiction, you know.
See, I'm too lazy. That's the great thing. See, I'm a bit of a drummer, and like when I was in a band, that was the thing. Is like we'd be playing these small gigs, and I'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring my Roland tonight," and they'd be like, "What? No, you got to bring the live drums." I'd be like, "Oh, gonna have to tune them and
Plug
move
'em in
everything."
there, yeah.
And
Well, with
just,
the other ones, you've got all the cords and everything, cabling. So
yeah, but I
like,
could just like I just sort of taped them all together, and it was just sort
Yeah.
of like just plugging it. It was way easier for me. I was just that it was always the easy part and then I could just be like, plug this into your PA system. There you go. Yeah,
just
and
do one
DI
and
drums, yeah.
master cable. Yeah.
well, and then the other killer thing is just like that was always like, I mean, most drummers don't have a problem with it, but I always had the problem with like this. You'd be in this teeny room, and I'd have these acoustic drums, and I'd be like, I'm deafening everyone in here. Like, there's 5 people in front of us, and I'm making hundreds of decibels of noise with these things.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot.
That
But
is tough.
now, when did you meet Preston?
So this is kind of funny. I think Preston, correct me if I'm wrong, but we both maybe weren't like too keen on the whole fraternity thing. Like weren't like
Yeah, my
stuck
mom
to
made me
it.
join a fraternity.
Right. So his mom made him join, and my sister signed me up. I like did not want to do it. My sister literally filled the whole thing out, and I didn't go to any like the summer stuff. And I guess I got lucky just right when I moved into Auburn, like following some of my high school friends who were also going to Auburn
Mm-hmm.
party, and I literally got basically a bid or whatever
Mm-hmm.
to the same fraternity Preston had already gotten a bid in on that first like party I showed up to, which like
Yeah.
is
I was like the same
apparently
thing. They
rare.
found out I could play guitar, and they were like, "You're in."
Yeah. So it was the very beginning of our freshman years at Auburn. I don't know, maybe even before like classes had really started, we had at least like met.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just took a couple months into it. Preston was like the guitar pledge, so they'd get him to bring his twin into the like main room of the fraternity house and just play like with nobody else and just play for
I'm
everybody.
like, what do I
Probably,
play?
like,
And they'd be like,
around.
just start playing.
I was like, from the beginning, I was like, I gotta play with this guy. Like, he doesn't even know. He probably doesn't know my name, and he doesn't know that I play drums. But like, I think I went up to Preston and was like, let's jam,
Yeah.
something like that.
I would be amazed if they did the same thing with the drum guy. Hey, just start playing.
Oh my
Get
God.
on in here.
They'd regret that.
Well, I mean, do you remember that, Preston? Him coming up to you?
I do, because I had been there was another guy in our fraternity who played drums but like wasn't a drummer, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I think I had to play with him one time, and yeah, I was like, let's jam. Like, I don't know, it was this afternoon or next afternoon, and I showed up, and I think you got in there before me. Like, you already had your drum set up, and you were just like ripping around, and I was, this kid's good.
I was about to say, it is very hit or miss in that situation, you know? Just like Preston was saying with people playing the guitar, because like that was the thing, is like I feel like drums are a bit of more of a commodity. Like it's easier to get your hand on a guitar, so there's just more guitar players out there.
Definitely.
And so like all kinds of guitar players would be asking me, they'd be like, hey, I heard you play the drums. We should play sometime. And like it was always so hit or miss that I would go over there and start playing with them and just be like, oh Jesus. Oh, this is rough. Like, and so I got very hesitant of when people would be like, hey, we should jam. I'd be like, really? Should we? Should we jam?
Can I ask, like, where were you when that was happening? Just, I feel like location matters a lot of like who's around you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of different places. I mean, usually most often it was in the gym. So it was always, I mean, you never know in the gym.
Really never know with that one, yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
it's a complete, I mean, you could run into the next Zach Wild and he'll just be all over that thing, you know? So, you know, you don't know. But now I hear you guys you really connected on the tunes. And I heard, I forget, it was in some interview, but I heard of some Dire Straits and some police going down in Jeep rides.
Yeah. Well, I said like I knew all my blues stuff, and Wyatt and really put me on a lot of the Dire Straits stuff, and like a lot of like bands like that are, maybe not like Led Zeppelin famous, but like, everybody knows Dire Straits stuff, and they have these catalogs that are just like packed with amazing music, and like,
oh yeah,
that was cool.
Getting that late 70s, early 80s stuff right there.
Dude, and the Police, like I had never really paid attention to Stuart Copeland's drumming until Wyatt pointed it out, and like it's just fun to listen to.
So
like,
unique.
Still. Yeah.
So
and Andy Summers too, like that's just a band that like they're just so influential. And yeah.
Oh, the whole Synchronicity, all the main albums they are.
And this was Preston and I just playing like literally just two people. We had a fraternity brother that played bass that would come and jam here and there, but I think I was excited probably to show you some Police songs because it was literally it's just three guys.
Yeah.
But how long from like you said, like that first that first party until like your first jam?
Oh man. Probably so like our first, I guess to put it in perspective, like our first Stu's practice was winter break of like going into 2020. So it was like the very end of 2019. So Preston and I met in, I guess, August of 2019.
Yeah.
And I want to say by like mid-September, we were probably practicing pretty often.
We played like, dude, it was, I feel like for a minute there, it would just be the two of us in that band room for like 4 hours, dude, just like banging around on something.
Well, now
noise complaints and all
the time, yeah.
Well, now I mean, Bennett went to High Point. Blake was supposed to go to Oregon. When did you decide, like, after playing together, you guys playing together, when was it like, let's get Blake and Bennett in on this?
You can go.
It was like we like knew that there was a spark from that first practice, but it was still unrealistic. So I think that's where the whole COVID thing was literally.
We had discussed. I remember me and you discussing all the time on my back porch, being like, "What are we gonna do? Like, if this doesn't work out, like let's try and make music work." We're like, "Yeah, let's be real."
Yeah, I mean, I think if COVID hadn't happened, we would have never all come together, because Blake, that stopped Blake from his plans of going, maybe going to Oregon, and he didn't even get like a real graduation in high school. He's a year younger, so
yeah.
We went to spring break. Our fraternity got a house down at the beach, and we rented like a 6-person house, and we had probably like 30 people in there. So we got kicked out day 2, and so this is
about right.
This is also the time where like schools are saying we're gonna have an extra week of spring break because of COVID. We're gonna have an extra 2 weeks of spring break, and then we just never came back. So when we got kicked out of the beach house, Wyatt was like, you want to come to Atlanta with me, and you can stay at my place so we can hang and jam with them for the rest of spring break instead of just like meandering around the beach and trying to find somewhere to stay. And that was like one of the first times where we were able to like play for a while, and like any sort of like Stu's like, real like organized.
So was that where you first played, like, as all 4 of you together?
We had met on that winter break, like Wyatt said, like we had played once, and he had been telling me all along, was like, I've got this bass player, this other guitar player, we gotta jam with, like, you gotta meet the boys,
Gotcha.
And,
I remember it being like post Christmas, right before everybody was about to go back. So like probably like a couple days after New Year's, like 2020. Was when we had our first in my dad's basement, where like I grew up.
Yeah,
Blake and Bennett jamming all the time. We just kind of got Preston over there, and I think David Michael, our friend, was there too, and he was on keys, just kind of messing around. But I remember at that was the first practice, and at that practice, like Slip Away, our song, like pretty much took full form.
Dude, that's crazy. I have that voice recording on my phone, and it was like, you guys it was like, what do we play? We don't want to just play a cover, like. And y'all are like, oh, got the song we used to mess around with in high school, and I just kind of like
It's just like the 3 chords, but you right away like had the melody.
Dude, I remember thinking I would like using full brain power was like this is good. Like, what do I do on this? Like,
I like it. You switch the full brain activation. Get it?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Well, now, I mean, so obviously on that, I mean, that was the very first time. So I'm guessing between the two of you, there was probably some lights going off of like, oh, this works. We need to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I
had never played with a group that was like, they'd been playing for so long, and I had a little band in high school, and we were pretty terrible, and I had like convinced my buddy to get a drum kit in high school, and like I just never really with a group that like clicked and felt like, oh, this is a band, this is rock and roll, it's dope. And yeah, like that was an immediate feeling for me. I was like, we gotta keep doing this. This is cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, now how long? I feel like Blake had to be the hardest to sort of convince, since he's getting ready to go across the country for school. Like, how long did it take him to convince him during that sort of COVID period of like, you know what, just hang here and play with us instead?
Well, since he was like lived in Atlanta and was still technically like hadn't graduated high school yet because of that whole
right
that happened. He was already going to be there, and it kind of turned into a thing of like with many of the people in his grade of like, well, it's kind of a gap year situation now, or like we'll see, you know, I'm like, let's put college on hold.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So he was around, and I think it was just when we were like quarantined together when COVID had hit, like Preston was saying, after we, you know, drove back up from Florida from spring break to jam, and everybody was already there. I think if we hadn't had such like productive practices and pretty much written, you know, the Stu's EP in those practices, I think it would have been a lot harder to convince everybody to eventually end up at Auburn. But from my recollection, like it really wasn't hard. Like,
no, I remember
Blake was like, it doesn't make sense, but let's try to make it make sense. And Blake came in and moved in with me in Auburn in my loft, like when he first moved. So like he was didn't have a door, you know, he was just living with me, but it was fun. And like, you know, it really wasn't hard like to get them to want to do it. And I'm very thankful for that, because it could have been, it would have made sense if it was, you know, but
I remember Bennett like so early on, I was like, are you serious? Because he was like, dude, I'll transfer to Auburn. I was like,
yeah,
really?
Was,
all right.
Yeah. He loved High Point. Like, I think he loved certain things about it, but I think he just missed jamming because we were doing it so much and towards the end of high school that, you know, every time I talked to him on the phone that first semester, he was like, dude, I just miss playing.
Yeah, and you're probably like, dude, I'm jamming all afternoon. What you been doing? He's like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, now, how long? Because I mean, you guys, like, that's the thing, is I talk to a lot, and there's a lot of different sort of approaches to this, but it seems like you guys decided to go full time pretty quick. Like, it seems like you guys said, hey, we're going to be a band, and that's what we're going to be. We're not being students. We're not being 9 to 5. We're in a band. Because, like, you know, I have other bands that have been on the show that went through college, that went through 10 years of different jobs. How long did it take for you guys to just say, we're all in, musicians?
It would have been a year from like those first practice sessions, right? Like, because we all like finished our first year of college, and then the longest anyone went was you and Bennett going to ending 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I made it through the second half of my third year.
Right. Okay. So yeah, y'all.
And so it was really like we got reached out to by an agent who wanted to like help book shows, and right around that time, because that was Blake had just gotten his apartment, and that was like our sophomore year, like midway through sophomore year. And I do remember like vaguely there was a point where after a call was made, we all kind of like, you know, looked at each other and like, are we doing this full time? And we all kind of agreed like, yeah, I'll skip class. I'll drop anything. Like, this is what I want to do. And like, we took every gig that we could get.
Yeah. As you said, Bennett was already like, yes, I've already done it.
Yeah.
I'm in. Do it.
Well, then that comes to when we finally did quit school. Bennett, it was a funny story. He was, because Wyatt and Blake weren't in, and we were already skipping so much class. I had to go send our EP to one of my professors so I could get a note so she believed me that I was in the studio recording. And Bennett had he was late for class. His water had been turned off. Multiple frustrations. And he was like, "I'm done. I'm out." And he just
he got stung by a bee too. And
yeah, click the button.
This is a really
class
funny
is over.
story that's worth telling. The day that Bennett dropped out, he woke up, put on his jacket, got stung by a bee, and then me and our other roommate, I was living with Bennett at the time, we're doing this prank where you rubber band the sink handheld thing, and you point it at. It's the classic. And we had been doing that for a couple weeks, and of course it was all set up. It was all set up in the kitchen by me, and so he comes down pissed off about the bee sting, and then he turns the sink on and he gets sprayed and our thing was high pressure in the face, and he just stepped outside and was so he was fuming. And then later that day, he dropped out of classes.
You know what? School's not for me anymore.
Yeah,
I'm done.
and he came over to band practice and was like, I just dropped out. I'm done. And I was like, somebody hand me my computer. I can't be the only one here.
Dude, it was stupid. We were making money, and there was a buzz, and we were getting booked, but we can't deny that it was in the moment. It was stupid.
It was stupid.
But thank God,
my mom was so
we did
mad.
it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
so far it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
it's worked out pretty well. Well, now you also, though, you guys decided to move to the sort of the hometown as far as Charleston. What made that decision?
It's really all right. Our booking agency was based here, and we started getting management from them as well. And it was kind of that we had traveled to Charleston and liked it.
It's hard not to like.
Oh, we wanted out of the college scene too.
That's where Preston and I are right now, actually. So
yeah, we were big fish in a small pond in Auburn too, and it was it was great, and it was fun to keep playing all these parties and play in the bar every night. And there was an era there where there was this little bar downtown Auburn that would be wrapped around the block, the line. We were just packing out. It was fun. It was great. But yeah, we all realized we were we gotta be seen by the rest of the world as a bigger operation than just this little college band. And so I think that was part of it too. It's just go somewhere unfamiliar. It's not Atlanta, not Auburn, and kind of get out there and
The Charleston scene too wasn't like Nashville. It wasn't daunting really. It was just really cool, and it was happening, but it wasn't it wasn't oversaturated to us.
You just sort of needed a new spot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can these days, and I may be wrong, but I feel like you can get sort of notoriety in almost any mid-tier size city if you're doing it right.
If your content is firing.
Yeah. Well, now
you're right.
Well, now speaking of South Carolina, you guys have driven up 26 to my old stomping grounds there, Columbia. I lived in Columbia for 9 years, something like that. And I noticed you guys headlined the St. Patrick St. Patrick Day festivities there in 5 Points.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, pure insanity. Am I right?
So fun.
Yeah, that place is nuts. It's so fun.
I mean, it is bananas. Every year that I live there, and it's insane how many people get packed down in that little area of 5 Points.
It's crazy, dude. We played it 2 years ago, I think, and I remember there was people climbing trees to see over the crowd, and you couldn't see the end of the people in this downtown area. And it was just I didn't know people showed up like that in Columbia.
It's nuts. And it makes no sense. It's not like Columbia has some huge Saint
Irish.
Yeah. No. It's just a bunch of people that want to get drunk and listen to music. But
it's the reason to start drinking at noon and listen to good music.
Oh man, yeah. No, I mean, it was funny. It's like I was telling you, I used to work at a gym, and it was funny. I would have friends that would do the 5K, the St. Patrick's Day 5K, and they would get drunk before the 5K, run the 5K, throw up during the 5K, and then just start drinking again after the 5K.
That's insane.
That's valiant. Other than the getting drunk before the 5K, I don't get that.
Oof.
I don't know if
That's
I
rough, dude.
understand that.
It's too much. Well, and then you'd also have the people that would, not have any training involved. They would just start drinking at 9 in the morning, 8 in the morning,
Give themselves the confidence to run it.
Well, they'd pass out somewhere around 2 p.m. and then rally at 4 p.m. by the time to get to see the last music acts and be like, I'm back. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm alive.
It's a bananas place though, but it looks fun to perform.
So fun. I mean, it's
So fun.
Yeah, one of the better college towns to play music in, really.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, you mentioned it. You guys record the EP in 2021. You like we were just talking about. You basically been together for a full year when when you record it, and you choose Fame Studios to record. Now, how do you land on Fame? I mean, obviously, nice place to record. How do you decide that that's feasible?
To be honest with you, we didn't know what was feasible. We didn't know what was even possibly on the table. We were so green, and we just called them. We knew about them because of the history.
The old Fame Studios.
And it's in Alabama. I mean, obviously, yeah, the history was mainly the attraction, and we literally just called them, and we were astounded that they were interested at all, or that they even asked us to send demos in. For them, it's if they're any recording studio, if they have open space and we're willing to pay them, it's bring it on. But we still thought we had just gotten a ticket into heaven.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It really was. And we had it, and it was a young guy we were working with there too, Spencer. It was a good vibe, and yeah, looking back, you always wish you could do so much different, but it was also, I do remember, I don't know if this had anything to do with our decision together. I don't even know if I had mentioned this. Or in high school, my mom, as a birthday present my senior year, she wanted to get me some time to Fame to record with my high school band, and I remember no, I'm not going in there and record. We don't have any good music. A total waste of time. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she so I remember she helped out a little bit, and or as a gift gave me something to help with some of the stew time, but it was yeah.
I was about to say, could you hold on to that time that she had got for a couple of years?
She had never actually booked it, and then when we went to record there, she was like, "Can I help out?" I think it was around my birthday or something, and
nice.
Yeah, she took.
Yeah, your birthday was one of the nights we were there, and I think we recorded the EP in 3 days.
Yeah, I turned 21 recording the solo to Fireline. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's the best birthday right there.
In Studio B, Muscle Shoals. That's hard to beat right there.
That is a solid one right there. Well, now, did you guys already have? I'm guessing you had everything ready to go when you went in there, as far as you had all the songs you wanted to put on this EP.
Yeah,
there were a couple lyric changes, but yeah,
we had the songs, but what we had was the versions of those songs that we had been playing live for a year, and just honestly, the versions that had just kept getting longer and longer and longer, because all we were doing was playing shows where people just wanted to see us jam, and I'm glad that no regrets, but it's every the shortest song on that EP is 5 minutes, so
yeah.
We were, like I said, we were green, and we've learned so much about production and just recording and all that since. But we literally just went in there and live tracked all of them, and overdubbed here and there, but it's pretty much a live EP.
I am glad too. I remember our producer engineer would had so many things you need to take this out, you need this, and maybe it was good advice for if we're trying to get radio play, but it was nice how we did stand our ground on certain things, and we're yeah, it is 5 minutes, but we're a rock band, and I'm not trying to win a Grammy for this necessarily. It's
I mean, were they forceful of it, or was it
no? He was
think about this,
because Fame they really now are a publishing company, and
yeah.
they have a writing team too, that they'll pitch songs. He was writing songs and pitching them to Beyonce and all these pop artists that were And he showed us a couple of the demos, and it's like, yeah, wow, okay, that's a Beyonce song, or that's a Rihanna song. It was like somebody else singing, and so it was. And Fame is like a lot of old like classic country, or just classic, like, pretty. And I guess when it started, at least, pretty strict, like soul R&B. It wasn't like super psychedelic music coming out of Fame Studios, and so like, I don't know. I think he wasn't used to working with 4 kids that didn't have a record label, that had nobody to tell them what they needed to record. We were like, we're paying you cash, and this is what we want to do. And so he was really good about like not overstepping. I'd say he had like a lot of nice things to say, but Spencer let us do our own thing too. So I was
about to say that's easy enough for me if I'm him. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Tell me what you want. But
got no record company looming over, like needing to hear demos or anything. So yeah.
Well, now folks love Make It Out. I mean, it's still the number 1 song on Spotify. It's still the number 1 song for you guys on Apple. Like, I always wonder in those those scenarios when you guys were recording the EP, was it one of those things that Make It Out stood out to you that you were like, yeah, this is the jam right here?
I mean, I think what stood out was like the tempo. Like, it felt like the most upbeat song of the group, but I personally didn't think it would be the most popular.
I don't think any of us did.
Yeah.
We
all thought Slipway was like, I mean, granted, like I was saying earlier, I mean, it's over 6 minutes long, but like we thought that song kind of had the most like character, I guess, maybe. But
yeah,
everything's changed over time, the feelings and all that. So that was just kind of, I mean, that song is, Make It Out's like was the simplest song.
Yeah.
At least chords wise on the whole EP. So like we had no idea.
Do you notice? I always wondered this, like, and I mean, for most people it's true, but do you notice a difference between like the streaming love of songs versus the crowd reaction? It shows like what crowds really dig versus what you see in the numbers on streaming.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And there's different, like, you see different like groups of fans wanting different things, like, all of the young college girls like love Make It Out when that time comes, but then like there's also people that ask for the slower jams, or like
what's the I mean these comments always make me laugh on Instagram. I was looking at the comments, and the Gen Xer dads, I love their comments. There's some Gen Xer dads.
Yeah.
What are their go-tos? Do you know? What's their fave?
They like the hard rock, like the stuff that is most inspired by like 70s rock.
Yeah. They like the distorted guitars.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Sense.
And we kind of like playing those live a little more. So,
Oh yeah.
I feel like we've met a couple people over the years that even if it's not that person, it'll be like, dude, my dad like loves, like, I remember the guys at Salty Way was like, my dad loves guitar solos, and like he put me on you guys. So like,
that's sick. Yeah.
You're like, all right, getting recommended by the dads. Like it. Well, now I know you guys have thrown out covers before. Of course, you do covers from time to time in the live shows, and have you ever thought about putting one on an album? I mean, I know you've only had two albums, but have you thought about throwing one on the albums?
We've never like talked about that, but like I've personally had that thought, and I just feel like it has to be done in such a it has to be really done well, and like
gotta walk the line.
Yeah.
I think of like Sturgill Simpson covering like In Bloom, the Nirvana song, on one of his albums, and like totally made it his own, and like you wouldn't even, unless you know the Nirvana song super well, you may not even know it's a cover or something like that. I feel like could work, but I don't know, I think we're so eager to put out, we feel like we just have so many songs that haven't even come out of us yet, that we're like, we don't want to spend a ton of time on somebody else's song until we get to maybe the point where we're like, let's change something up, or we're running out of ideas or something. But
as long as we got fresh ideas, we're trying to stick to that game.
Yeah.
But the covers are we used to play so many covers, and then we started like, we were like, we're not gonna be a cover band, like I don't want to do this forever, and they were purposely not playing covers. But yeah, I think like Wyatt said, it's a fine line of doing it tastefully, where it's like
Absolutely.
you want to listen to the other version. It's not an annoying cover.
Yeah, well,
you don't want to get known as the band that has that really cool cover.
Well, it's always wild to me, some of those bands. Like, I mean, we had UB40 on the show, and like,
that's cool.
You know, that's all they're known. Like, and I don't want to say that's all they're known for, but that is like all of their biggest songs are just their covers.
Dude, I love Joe Cocker. He's like one of the best cover artists of all time.
Yeah. And we had, Joe Cocker. I mean, one of his biggest covers, "Feeling All Right." We had the original writer of that there, Dave Mason, on the show, and like
that's sick. Traffic,
and he was talking about how he likes the Joe Cocker version.
That's so cool. What's the Beatles song he does? I might
buy a little help from my
I think I might like the Joe Cocker
scream in that song that's like the best rock and roll scream of all time.
Oh yeah, the like emotional dying scream, basically.
Yeah,
it sounds like it hurts, but in the best way.
well, now the most recent album, you guys switched it up. You recorded in the new hometown at the Space with Wolfgang. Mm-hmm. Was that just another like, hey, let's see what else is out there?
Yeah, it was kind of a thing of having heard about Wolfie a lot and heard good things, and it was kind of like we honestly like started, like we say, and it's not false, but that album, we tell people, like took over a year and a half, but it's not that we were in the studio every day for a year and a half. We were in the studio for a total of 30 days, but it was just so spread out because of our touring schedule that it was like a total different experience than any of the other recordings we'd done, like the What Was and the EP, and not necessarily better or worse. It was just so different, and we learned a ton. And I think it was, to answer your question, it was just kind of like it was in a convenient location, and we'd heard great things.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And some friends of ours had recorded there that we were fond of their music recently, like Easy Honey and 87 Nights, and it just felt right at the time.
Yeah, well, this doesn't have anything to do with your recording, but I was looking at that. I looked at his website, and it's sort of weird. He doubles his cost on the weekday relative to the weekend. Like I noticed it's like double the amount for a weekday with Wolfie as it is for a weekend, and I was
wonder if that's because a weekend day would be a half day for him. That is weird.
It is odd. He's an interesting guy, and he's got his own method. But it was cheaper than Fame, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And
I would imagine. I would go to imagine.
Wolfie did a lot more of like actually producing and like really helped us. Like Wolfie, we owe him a lot. Like he really brought things out of us that we didn't know we could do, and it was like he got really into the whole process with us. Like he was all in. So the album wouldn't have been what it was without him, for sure.
No, nice. Definitely got to give him some credit on there.
Definitely.
Well, now I don't want to put any pressure, but you guys have already been talking about it. I'm guessing you're working on new material.
We are. Mm-hmm.
Nice. How far off is that?
It's hard to say. We've been so focused on like the songs whenever we can be between tour dates, and being between two cities, it makes it hard. But we took the beginning of this year, a big chunk of the beginning of this year, to start the process, and we've got some demos right now. The mix is pretty terrible on, but like the ideas are there, and it's kind of finishing touches on a lot of songs. But it's just about, we haven't put a ton of thought into where we're going to record it and all this, because we've been so focused on just being prepared for when we do. With the songs, so
you want to have everything ready to go.
Exactly.
I think we'd kind of want to approach this next project and like, okay, we've taken the time to like butt heads and create, this is exactly how these songs are structured, what they are. Let's go somewhere that's inspiring, has great gear, and like have fun doing this, because that, to me, if last time in the studio we were in between touring and then like straight back in the studio, and there's like no time to really clear your head and like write on some of this new stuff you're working on in the studio that needs touching up. And they were just a lot of like negative energy at times that was just like us pushing ourselves too hard or like being immature about things. But I think having everything put together and everybody's like confident and really stoked about the work and the art, and then going somewhere and like, let's put it together and like have fun, and like how cool and unique an opportunity is it that like where none of us are guns for hire. We're all like in our band, like we get to write our music and like do our part, make our drums sound how we want them to sound. You know, it's like there's a lot of fun and unique parts of this, and like it should all be super fun if you do it right, you know. So it's about kind of working hard beforehand so that the hard work has been done and you can enjoy the time and make it as positive of an experience as it can be.
It's definitely got to be a big switch. I mean, like you were saying, I mean, to try to switch from being on tour to going into the studio, it's a whole different vibe.
That was what was kind of killing us, was just like Preston said, like the headspace thing. It's like the road is tough, and you know you need your space from everybody here and there, just like for things to be healthy. Like,
and we were living in the same house too during this time.
Yeah, so we were like, it was just
we were just on top of each other.
Set ourselves up like we were all like married, you know. And it made it tough, and it'd be like one day before we had to leave again, and it's like we're spending money on one day where like none of us are in the same headspace, and we just we're
burning out at times.
Yeah.
4-way marriages, they're hard, man. They are.
That's hard. What our producer on our first record, he was like, you guys do realize you're about to spend more time with each other than most married couples do. And we were like,
it's true, man. Well, but I mean, you guys do really seem to love performing. Like, and like you, to me, it really seems like you seek out the feel of a rock concert. And like you look on your social media, there's not a bunch of skits. There's not a bunch of reaction videos. It's you guys playing. And like, and you're out there most of the year grinding, doing those shows. I mean, was that a main objective from the beginning? Like for everybody in the band, like, hey, we want to be on stage. That's the main thing. I
think so, because we saw the fruit of that early on. Like we saw that by every time we played another show, more people started talking, and then another inquiry about another frat show in another college town would come in, and it was like from the beginning, that was the only tangible like fruit that we were seeing, was like directly from playing live. And I think that just became our bread and butter, and we still thankfully all still love it. And like, you know, as the shows get bigger, it can be sometimes more stressful, but yeah, I think we just doing it.
I think too, like you see a lot of people our age will like coming up playing, like a lot of people are like want to learn the song so that they can like take a video and send it to their friends kind of thing. And like I don't think any of us really ever approached music in that way. I think it was like we all like loved music and loved playing it together, and you know, we'd finish playing a song we just wrote, and it was never like, oh dude, let's throw a phone up and record that. It was just like sick, like stoked, let's do another one, you know.
Yeah.
And so in a way, nothing against like, you know, recording everything and putting a ton of stuff out on social. That's stuff we could do better at, honestly, in this modern market. But like, yeah, it was just a very authentic approach, I can confidently say, to like why we wanted to play music, and like, yeah, show it to people live. Like, let's get off our phones, let's get out of our living room. If you want to come see us, like, you know, come down here and experience it with us.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, to me, it is. I mean, you know, it's like you said, you guys aren't necessarily a jam band, but to me, that's more of a jam band approach. Like, you know, we had Goose on the show, and those guys don't really do anything social media wise, but holy crap, they sell out Madison Square Garden. They sell out like the Red Rocks like 8 times in a row. Like it's, and that's all they do. They love playing those shows. And that's, you know, I think there's there's something to it, like you said, word of mouth, a huge thing.
Definitely.
Let me ask you guys real quick about these shows. I've seen you post this on social media about people getting scammed, like paying like $300, $350 a ticket for your shows. Like that's bananas. Do you hear this a lot?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
It's terrible.
And I think we've even fallen for it for shows we've gone to. Like I think so many people have experienced it and they don't even know. But it's like it's the whole thing of just the first link that you see on Google. If you're like trying to go see, I mean, it becomes a different beast when you're talking about massive bands. Pearl Jam or something. But like if you're going to see someone at like a variety playhouse in Atlanta, like 1,500 cap place. If you're just looking up the band's name Atlanta and you're seeing the first link mention variety playhouse, whatever you're clicking it, like then you're probably gonna get scammed. There's a bunch of different companies, but like AXS and StubHub are big ones. And we know that a lot of our fans are in college and like balling on a budget, and we were just like, we need to make a PSA about this because we've just heard about it too many times. Like, and I have like friends that I got on Skype, people that I knew well.
They like reach out and they take it personal. They're like, dude, why would you charge me this much?
Why
for
are you charging $150 for a ticket? I'm like, dude, we're charging $25. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's I mean, the one thing I will say is I'm like, hey, props to those fans that are dedicated enough to pay that, because if I were them and I looked at that, I'd be like, oh, looks like I'm not going to the Stew show tonight. That's not
right.
I wouldn't blame anyone for that, but you're so right. It's like it's crazy that they still.
I was like, I paid $200. Like, serious?
Yeah, I mean, thanks a lot. You know what?
You do that, man?
Go back, get the actual $25 ticket, and then pay $175 for our merch. That's
right. And
we would enjoy that, but
that would keep us going a lot more.
Keep us afloat. Yeah. It actually goes to us, not some middlemen. But like, so you guys, like I mentioned at the very start of this, you guys are getting ready to play Bonnaroo. This is your second time.
That's crazy to even say.
Well, I mean, it's such a legendary festival.
Yeah, it is.
How does, like, I mean, first of all, take me back real quick. The original, when you first played there 2 years ago, how nervous were you for that one?
Definitely nervous. Like nothing. I mean, I feel like it was like to the point of like, if I can do this, but like, I think what helped with that was we weren't even on the festival graphic. We were playing the Who stage, had a great time slot, but I don't think any of us really knew what to expect crowd wise.
Yeah. And
it ended up being amazing, but like,
it looked real nice.
It was a couple hundred people, and by the end it felt like, I'm so bad at gauging the size.
Probably like 2,000.
Yeah, something like that. But it was just so fun too. Like, when you just got a whole weekend of just enjoying music, like surrounding you playing a show, it's like you just can't help but be like, I don't deserve this. Like, I feel like, it's like life is so good. Like, I'm just so thankful that, to be at this place, and the fact that I get to work at it is even better.
How's it compared to a regular gig? Because I'm guessing it's a little, I've heard from the artist side, it's a little bit sometimes like getting your stuff up there, getting it in the right positioning and everything is a pain. At the same time, it's a little less rush because it's like you said, everybody's there for that festival and whatnot. It's a little more, the timing is a little more stressful. Like, when we played festivals where like we don't even get a sound check, so it depends. And just walking up and like going into at this any festival, but like you're just kind of thrown straight into it. There's no like, you can warm up backstage all you want, but it's like you haven't been playing shows for, this isn't like night 3 of a run or something. It's kind of like you keep working up in your head. And I have a history of getting super nervous before shows, or I did, especially in the very beginning. And that one was kind of nerve wracking. But as soon as you walk up there and you're like, the songs almost become like second nature when you're up there in the moment, because you're so reliant on like, all right, this is what we can do and we're gonna do, and let's just give it to the people, I'm guessing as the singer, Preston, you prefer to sort of jump into a song as quickly as possible because that feels comfortable.
Yeah, I'm not up there giving a stand-up comedy routine before the set or in between songs. So it is, yeah. I've been like a pretty social person growing up, but I don't think I've ever been like the like loudest one in the group kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it is like nerve-wracking when it's just everybody staring at you. Oh,
You haven't got to the David Lee Roth moment of your career yet.
No, I haven't brought the chaps out yet.
I can't wait. Is that coming this year at Bonnaroo?
Maybe next year, but I don't know. You'll find out.
You'll know when it
happens. Yeah.
I'll be very excited. I hope there is a post about that. I really hope. Well, you guys have a fall tour going, all over the country. We can't wait for that, but very excited for the Bonnaroo show, guys. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. This has been I think this might be the best interview we've ever been given. Pretty thorough. So.
That's what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear. Listeners, make sure you stream Chicken Fight on all streaming services. And if you happen to be in Manchester, Tennessee, check them out at Bonnaroo. Right now, let's take a listen to Hourglass right here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard the Stews.
That's right.
My goodness, Mike. Mike, that's a big jump, I give them kudos for their big jump. You are in college, and you just say, hey, we're going to drop out of college, and we're going to become rock stars.
Say what?
That's a big jump. That's a big jump to have, I don't know. I don't think I could make that jump. That's a big jump. Now, I mean, it's one thing if you fail out of college and then you're just like, you know what? Now I've got no other option. But if you're passing your classes and you're just gonna but like I was telling a couple of people, that totally makes sense to me. Like, I mean, not that I would encourage it, but if they truly want to do it, like you can always come back to school. Mm-hmm. You can take 5 years off, 8 years off, and go, you know what? That didn't work out. You know what? I need to go back and become a horticulturalist, or I need to become a historian to help Tyler Herro.
Yes.
It's just I'm all for it, man. And they look to be having fun, those fellas. So kudos to them. Seems like a good thing, man. Good thing. Happy to have them on the show. Hopefully we can have them on the show again. But we need to move on, Mike, to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, top 3.
That's true. Mike, this was another topic that I threw out there. This is top 3 small talk topics. Now, so the things that you would be most likely to talk with somebody if you had some small talk to cover. Now, I would like to point out, Mike, I should have been slightly more specific on this, because I didn't say whether you know them or not, because the degree that you know somebody will definitely dictate the type of small talk you have with that person. Because generally, right, if I know a person, my small talk is going to be around what I know them about, right?
Yeah.
So like you meet one of your stand-up friends, it's going to be about stand-up. You're going to be like, hey, did you hear what happened to that club the other night? Crazy. Yeah, it's nuts, man. But like if you meet up with somebody that's in your knitting club, you're going to be like, hey, you knit anything recently? It's crazy.
Got any new needles?
Yeah, exactly. That, or if you're talking about your heroin crew, like either one. But like,
Try the cherry.
do you go down to gas station heroin? No, it's the worst.
They've got 3 flavors, I think.
3 flavors.
3 flavors of that gas station heroin.
Really? I feel like there's got to
Yeah.
be more. I feel like you can make
should
any
be
type
more.
of flavor you want, really. Anywho, Mike.
Heroin flavor.
Heroin flavors. There need to be more. Top 3 heroin flavors. Mike. Anyways,
Jolly Rancher watermelon.
we're going to assume the person knows nothing, right? That's what I'm assuming. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
This is
it's gotta be.
This is a new person. This is a
Right.
new person. Okay. So do you have any honorable mentions?
I guess I sort of approached this top 3 with top 3 small talk questions. But I guess you're doing topics.
Questions
that's
are
what we're
fine.
doing. We're doing topics.
I mean, question is
Okay.
going to start the topic. It's going to...
Okay, here is. Yeah, I got you. So here would be one that's a little bit. I can't think of the word. It does matter. What's your go-to small talk topic with strangers?
That's your question that you're going to ask them?
Yeah. What's your go-to small talk?
I guess that would work if you're going up to somebody, you're like, I don't have anything. What do you normally talk about?
What do you like to small talk about?
Yeah, exactly. Just ask them. What do you want to cover
yeah.
right now?
This one is a good. This also honorable mention, but if the person is somewhat, not depressing, what are you working on these days? What's going on? What are you working on? What projects?
So this would not be somebody that you say like a homeless person that you were making small talk with.
Yeah.
So what are you
Or just
working
somebody
on
who's
today?
like-
Staying alive?
Yeah.
High fives. Nice. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah. So if you know they're actually they're doing things, they're out there getting things done. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see here.
These again. These are all honorable mentions.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Doc G, your turn.
Okay, number 3 on my list, Mike. I have 3 go-tos, and that's it. If
Okay.
these are the default go-tos, and I think most of these are default for a lot of people. First of all, number 3. This one isn't used as many as the other 2. Shirt or article of clothing that I know something about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll comment on it. Like, the go-to, of course, a compliment, right? Hey, that like those pants,
Word.
like that shirt. But it's even better if it's like a graphic tee.
So true.
Right? If it's a graphic tee and it's like I don't know, an NWA t-shirt, and I'm like, yes, I'll bring up NWA, be like, hey, you dig some NWA? Nice. That's a go-to. You can talk about that for hours, That's an easy one. It's really bad though when you do have that and you're like, hey, NWA, and then they're like, oh, I don't know anything about this. This is my brother's shirt. Okay. All right. Well,
All right.
I like that
Well, hey,
band.
good talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's rough after you find that one out. But I do, and I also find usually when it's a when it's a compliment, usually it spurs them to give you like the whole background of it too. Oh, what? These? I got these in at Venice Beach. There was a vendor out there that I bought them from. Oh, yeah, okay. I've been to Venice Beach before. Then you segue yourself into other things,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll also say this, Mike. If a person knows me, and this isn't like true small talk, I have a problem of always only focusing on me. Like, I'm worried about my explanations of everything about me, and it comes off very inconsiderate of others.
So true.
Because they'll ask me about what I'm doing, and then I want to make sure that I don't sound like an idiot. So I'm all focused on my explanation of whatever it is they asked me about. And then I never follow up with like, how are you doing? No, never happens. And then I leave the conversation. I'm like, wait a second. I didn't ask them about anything about their life. No. Oh, that's a problem, right? And it's not like, again, it's like I don't care. It's I care that I don't want to look stupid about whatever they ask me about. So I'm so focused on being like, okay, give a good, interesting, coherent answer, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
Anyways, I got sidetracked. But my number 3, article of clothing. That's the number 3. Number 3 for you, Mike.
Number 3 for me, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
That sort of goes into my number 2, which is time of year, Mike. Time of year, like what's going on, of course. So if it's during football season, oh my God, those games, right? Because usually it's sports related, right? So it'll be time of year. So like right now, I'd be like, hey, you caught any of that NBA finals? And then if they're like, oh, I like hockey, I'm like, oh, you're weird. Okay. And then, but like, you know, if it's NFL, I'll be like, oh my God, can you believe playoffs already here? Nuts, right? So I said time of year in my notes, but it really is like I go to sports. That's the thing that I do the most with it. I may do, like, if it's summer, I'll do like hey, you got any vacation coming up? You got anything? Like, you know, I might throw it in like that personal, but like usually it's sports related. Yeah.
My number 2 is the same thing. Upcoming holidays. What are your holiday plans?
Holidays. That could fall in as well. I could definitely do it.
So throughout the year,
throw in a holiday, of course. Yeah.
What are your holiday plans? Yeah. So that's my number 2.
Number 1, Mike. The go-to whenever you've got nothing, and I know every old person is with me on this. What is it, Mike? Weather. Weather. Number 1, Mike, doesn't matter. You come in on a day like today where it was 95, you come in and go, whoo, hot one, right? Oh my gosh, it has been hot for like the last 4 days, right? I love it though. Do you like it? There's always a conversation. Oh my God, you see? I think there's some storm clouds coming in from the west. Yeah, it's been happening for the last couple of days, right? Yeah, it's crazy, right? You talk about weather anytime, anybody, anywhere. Always the go-to. Whenever I run out of something, that's where I'm going. Weather. And I will run it into the ground until the person wants to puke. I will continue bringing it. I remember there was one time, there was a thunderstorm I had. Like, I'll run it into the ground, Mike. It's the go-to when you don't know. And that's always, to me, that's always an indication like, oh, crap. This is not a good.
That's it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, like, I mean, like,
where do we go from here?
When you've got
future weather,
when you've got a group of people, and like one of them's just like, it's crazy, right? The last couple weeks, as far as the storms, and you're like, oh no.
Is it over now?
Yeah.
It's over?
You're like, oh no, right? So yeah,
that's hilarious.
Weather is number 1. Number 1 small talk.
Gosh.
But it's always the emergency. If I know I have like 5 minutes that I need to cover, 4 minutes that I need to cover with somebody, you're waiting on another person to get there. You don't really know this person, so you're just like, oh man, I can't wait till it gets a little cooler than this, right? Okay. Like, you know, and that's just...
Well, it's good talking to you.
It's the space filler, man. It is the space filler. Mike, you're
so
number
funny.
1.
My number 1, food. Yeah.
Honestly, that should have been an honorable mention. Yeah, that's a good call. That should have... That actually...
Food.
Dang, man. That could have been my number 3, honestly. It might be over article of... Well... It would be a round article of clothing. Because, like, I will bring up food, but see, the only thing with food is like, you've just sort of got to bring up what you ate, right? Or
well,
like,
it's more of like what are some good options in this area if you're not from the area, or it's like what is some good like late night pizza?
Yeah. You can always get the advice, the tips,
because there's a million pizza places wherever you go for the most part. And everybody has their specific pizza spot. Yeah.
You can also, though, like, I was thinking more of, like, if, like, it might not be, maybe it's two people from the same area, maybe like, woo, I had this for lunch, moving a little slow. Yeah. Oh, man, I had this. You ever have that? You never been there? One of those. I'll throw those in a lot. So
yeah,
because that's the thing with small talk. You're going into something that you're shooting in the dark. You don't know what this person's into. You don't know how insane they are. So you gotta talk about something that everyone can relate to, and of course, food everyone can relate to.
Everybody,
yeah. Because I said, even though most of the time my number 2 is sports, I will strike out with that one a lot. You'll say something and be like, oh, what about that? And they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're just like, oh, okay. 4th of July. Yeah. How about that? That's a holiday that people have heard of, so.
Okay, the weather.
Exactly. Fall back on weather.
Yeah, see, I miss the sports stuff. Anytime people approach me with football, I'm like, I don't know. Basketball, we could talk about the finals, but it's like, I do follow basketball, but like limited knowledge of the Pacers or OKC right now.
See, I told you I think I told you this, but I have a when I am teaching classes, I have a assignment where students get to know me, right? And they write things about their lives. And one of the questions on that get to know me sheet is, what's your favorite sports team and what are your favorite sports? And I didn't realize for the first couple of semesters I had that students felt forced to write something because it was a question. And so I would get students that would put like Miami Heat. And so then I would get on there and be like, oh my God, right? That thing with Tyler Herro about, I don't believe in history. What a moron. He's on your team. What do you think about that? And they'd just be looking at me like, and I'd be like, what's wrong? And they'd be like, I don't know anything about the Heat. And I'd be like, you wrote it here that it's your favorite team. They're like, yeah, it's because you asked the question and I'm from Miami. So I was just like, I'll put like that. Jerseys. And I was just like, oh, so you don't watch any sports. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, you could have just said I don't watch any sports. I'm fine with that, But yeah. I got it, Mike. Food. I can completely agree. Mike, all right. What do you want to do next week?
Let's do hipster places to live.
Nice. I think I got
top 3 hipster places to live.
I think I got my top 3, and listeners, you're not going to like it. I think I got my top 3. Actually, you will.
All right.
We only have regular listeners from one of these places, so, and I think the people from one of those places will totally get it. They understand.
Yeah.
Okay, top 3 hipster places to live. I like it. Now, remember, if you are in one of these places, listeners, that doesn't make you a hipster. First of all, you could be an old school person that was there before the rise of hipsters. Mm-hmm. Second of all, you could just be a dude that's not a hipster living there. So don't feel personally attacked when we put your city
don't
on
feel
there.
attacked.
Okay? All right? All right. Mike, are you ready to go on to the old birthday suits? We have 2 of them left.
Yes. What do we have?
I'm not sure if you'll get either of these, honestly.
I was surprised you didn't think I'd get Paul McCartney, but I'm always worried it's going to be some kind of civil rights person that I'm not going to get.
Well, that's the thing is there's always
here we go, Martin Luther King's wife again.
There's a slight chance that you might
Yeah.
You know the person. I know you know.
Thank you for setting me up for the for the win though. For the
I know you know Paul
what I'm trying to
McCartney,
say.
so it's just
Yeah.
like that's the question. It's like, okay, is he just gonna remember the name? Because like sometimes whatever it is, he could be thrown off by it. So I got to leave a percentage chance.
I appreciate it.
Okay. So we've got a basketball player, and the basketball player did not exist for Tyler Herro for 3 years, apparently, because his career started at 47. So you want to go with the basketball player or the country music artist?
Let's go with the country music artist.
Okay, I'm going to give you the biggest possibility first here, Mike. Country music artist married to Gwen Stefani, and he is a coach on The Voice.
Oh man. What's his name? I want to say Brooks something.
You close?
No.
Close.
But it's not. It's is it Brooke Shelton?
Very
Shelton.
close. There we go. Blake
Hey,
Shelton
there we go.
is correct. I'm giving you
Blake
full
Shelton.
credit for that, Mike.
How'd you say I was close with Brooks?
B.
Okay.
It was a B. You were close.
All right.
You know?
Cool. Blake Shelton.
I can tell you're working it out in your head. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one syllable. It's a B. You had it. You just had to work
Country
it out.
names. Okay.
Yeah. Blake Shelton. There we go. Blake turning. What is Blake turning? Turning 49. 49 for Blake Shelton. Mike, I don't know if former guest of the show Gavin Rossdale would be cool with us celebrating Blake's birthday, since there was a contentious divorce between Gwen Stefani and Gavin. So Gavin, if you're listening to the show, let us know you're not cool with this, and we will shut
we'll delete it
down. We will not celebrate Blake's birthday at all.
Never. No way.
Only if you're cool with it, Gavin. And if you need me to cook you any eggs, you just let me know. I will cook
Any egg information. Yeah.
any egg information. I gotcha. But until we hear anything from you, happy birthday, Blake Shelton. They seem, I got to be honest, they seem pretty happy, those two. So there you go. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani. They seem pretty good. I didn't know this, Mike. He's 6'5". Jeez. That Blake Shelton. He's a giant.
Wow.
Yeah, big old dude. 6'5". Good Lord. I didn't know he was that huge. Anywho, happy birthday to Blake Shelton. Mike, our third birthday suit. That one listener clicking on their podcast. All right, let's listen in. Third podcast. Third birthday suit. This is where I listen. He is one of the first stars of the NBA, Mike. He was nicknamed Mr. Basketball. He played for the Minnesota Lakers. He was 6'10". He played from 1947 to 1954. He was so dominant that the NBA had to make several rule changes. They added goaltending because of him. They widened the paint, and they created a shot clock because of this player. He first started in the NBL, the National Basketball League, which merged with the BAA, which is the Basketball Association of America, and that made the NBA. He was a 4-time scoring champion, a 4-time All-Star. Would have been more All-Stars, but they didn't start the All-Star game until 4 years left in his career, so that's why he was a 4-time All-Star. And he was a 2-time NBA champion. He was part of the 25th anniversary team, the 50th anniversary team, and the 75th anniversary team. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Is it Jerry West?
Not Jerry West. Remember, we just had him a little while ago, Mike.
Yeah, I felt like
Can't have two birthdays in 1 year. That'd be Nutter Butters.
Yeah, not Jerry West.
I mean, I don't think it will help, but his jersey was 99.
Can I get some initials?
GM. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you'll recognize the name when I say it. George Mikan. No,
I don't even recognize the name. No.
First superstar, Mike. First superstar of the NBA. You know, sort of in the long line of legends of centers of the Lakers. You know, you went George Mikan, then you went Wilt Chamberlain, then you went Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then you went Shaquille O'Neal. Just you know, the ballers there of the Lakers. But yeah, he was, you know, he like I said, he was the dominating center. Like, he was basketball for that like 8-year period. Everybody knew him. And of course, since he was 6'10" back in 1947, everybody was like, oh my God, he's the tallest thing ever. You know, and then Wilt came, and then all these other tall people came, and it was like, oh, yeah. Okay, there's other super tall people. But yeah, George Mikan. If you went to basketball camps, Mike, in high school, impossible not to do the Mikan drill. They would always have you doing the Mikan drill, which basically is just keeping the ball really high and shooting on each side of the basket, going back and forth and shooting with it in that high position.
Wonder why they had to impose the shot clock because of him. He would probably hold the ball when they were winning.
Yeah. So you know, a team would get up by like 2 points and then just be like, okay, we're gonna run this thing out now, you know. And so so they had to go ahead and put in a shot clock, make sure that it's turning over. So yeah, there you go, George Mikan, and just a tall, gangly fella, you know, just one of those dudes that you know, his shoulders are like super wide relative to his arms. Just an interesting character. But the first true superstar of the NBA. So there you go. Happy birthday to George Mikan. Happy birthday to Blake Shelton. And lastly, happy birthday to Sir Paul and my mom. There we go. All right, Mike, we have to wrap it up for this week. It has been a good show. We've got multiple good shows. My goodness, we got comedian Kevin Sullivan coming on the show. We've got comedian Sidney Castillo coming on the show. We've got the Counting Crows coming on the show. We've got the band Cardinal Black coming on the show. Just a bunch of good artists coming on. Can't wait. But until next week, I've been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Vernicus, Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.